So let's look at different types of interest groups. As I said, more than 80% of interest groups are economic, and they might represent labor, the workers in an industry, agriculture, farmers, or the businesses in an industry. You also have environmental groups. Equality environmental groups, of course, would be like Greenpeace, like I mentioned before, the Sierra Club. Equality interests, these are NAACP, ACLU, groups that are fighting for people's rights. And then finally, consumer and public interest lobbies. Consumer lobbies would be fighting for things like making safer cars. You think of Ralph Nader and his Consumer Reports. They fought very hard to try to get things like seatbelt laws and airbags put into cars. Madison's solution to the problem posed by interest groups was to create a wide open system in which groups compete. Madison was essentially a pluralist. You just have a giant competition, and the groups that have the best argument will win. Elites argue that what's happened is businesses have come in, used their enormous amounts of money to take control of the process and get what they want. Hyper-pluralists argue that the attempt to make all the groups happy has simply made the government expand, the budget spiral out of control, and regulations proliferate. Interest groups seek to maintain policies and programs that benefit them. The whole idea of an interest group, right, is that the interest group is going to try to serve itself. It's going to try to get what it wants. Why else would you have an interest group, right? Interest groups continue to pressure the government to do more and more things. Like I said, usually if you're paying money and putting effort into affecting the government, you're trying to get the government to do something. And so consequently, they tend to lead to the growth of government. As the government does more, does this cause the formation of more groups? Think about that. As the government does something, does that then create a group pushing back against that? That's an interesting point. So is this an ever-increasing cycle like Tribbles on Star Trek? Anyway, there's a little summary, and that's interest groups.